Hi guys, Andy here. What I'm going to try and do today is compare the cameras of the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the Nokia Lumia 930. I don't do a lot of actual camera comparisons. I do video comparisons because they're actually quite easy for me to do, but the camera ones are a bit harder to sort of review and talk through on a video format. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you. I've tried to take the same shot with both phone, like so. I'm going to show you first of all the Galaxy S5 photo, then the Nokia Lumia 930, and while I'm showing those I'm going to talk about the differences that I see. I would suggest the best way might be if you want to sort of check back at the different photos, rather than me keep switching the photos up in the screen, or I could do split screen, but then you perhaps don't see it quite so well, it's not a full frame. I'm going to put the whole picture, S5 and the 930, and if you want to jump back and forward to see the difference in the video, that's probably the best thing. Obviously make sure you've switched it up to 1080p, that's what the video is going to be filmed in, so to see the best quality of the photos, do that. And like I said, I'll give you my opinion, but I'm more than happy to hear yours in the comments down below. Let's go on with it. So we're starting off with a regular sort of photo, outdoors, good light, simple shot really. For me, the S5 has stronger colours. You might argue the 930 is more natural, but to me it looks actually slightly washed out. The blacks don't look as black as I feel they should be. We move on to, this is indoor with no flash, and for me we're beginning to see a bit of a theme now appear. So again, the colours look a lot stronger on the S5. The 930 for me it looks a little hazy and a little fuzzy. If you look in the background, I'm not sure what that is, but I can see a 50 on the S5 photo. On the 930 it's really fuzzy and not readable at all. The next one's the same picture, but this time with the flash turned on. And again, the S5, the colours look strong, but actually when you get to the 930 picture, it does illuminate all round the subject much better. So I think on this instance you perhaps would say the 930 has done a better job, even though the colours perhaps aren't as strong as the S5. Here we have basically a close-up shot of some greenery, and I think actually the 930 displays the colours better in this instance. It's quite strange, the colours look stronger on the 930 than on the S5, so I would probably edge this one towards the 930 as the winner. Next is this is very early morning, so it's quite low light. You can see the street lights on. Do you know, I had to look at this one quite hard to decide which was the better shot. The Lumia is still a little darker. The S5, it looks like there's a bit more noise on the picture because they've maybe it's used a higher ISO rating, or it's done something to be able to make the picture itself look that a little bit brighter. Not a lot between them. Probably your pick as to which you think is a better photo. I think there's actually a little bit more noise in the S5 than in the Lumia. Then we move on to even lower lights, and again it's actually very, I don't know, it's tough to decide. Possibly I would edge towards the Lumia. I think if you look at the detail in the two trees just slightly off left centre of the shot, there's a bit better detail in the Lumia. But again, the S5 makes it a slightly lighter shot, but then it looks a bit fuzzy. It almost looks like a filter has been applied over the top to fuzz it out, almost brushstroke it or something. We're going to move on now to what I think is becoming more and more important to people, and that's the front-facing camera. I found even myself becoming a bit of a selfie whore over the last few weeks. So I feel it's quite important that there's a decent front-facing camera on these devices. The Lumia only has a 1.2 megapixel front-facing against the S5's 2 megapixel, and I do think this is where the S5 pushes a little bit ahead. Not that either of them are a bad shot, but again, if you look at the bushes up at the back of the garden there, the detail in the S5 is much clearer, much crisper. You'll also notice the S5 has a much wider field of view, which again could be very important if you're trying to cram lots of people in. Whereas the 930 seems quite close on me basically. So yeah, I would say this one almost definitely goes to the S5. And finally, a low light selfie front-facing camera shot. I'm not going to lie, neither of them look particularly good, and actually I was quite surprised how poor the S5 did. But then again, I mean, the Lumia's isn't too bad, but from experience over the last weekend I was taking a few in low light and it generally didn't handle the colours very well. looking kind of even more than washed out, and also kind of red tinges around the outsides. Now you don't particularly see that in the shots that I've taken for the sample here, and as I say, neither of them look particularly good, and it would be hard to declare either of them a winner. I guess I'll leave that one up to you. From experience of other pictures, I would lean towards the S5, but that's not based on the evidence taken just now. So, for those of you keeping score, you probably got to about 4-all, I think. The low light shots, though, they could go either way, and you might disagree and think actually they lean towards the S5. I change my mind each time I look at them, really. I could almost, if I called those draws, then I think it would be 4-2 to the S5. I'm going to let you decide what you think it is. If I was forced to pick a phone for a day out where I need to take pictures, I think I would take the S5 with me. But at the same time, while using the Lumia, I didn't necessarily appreciate how good some of the photos were and how well it dealt with some situations. I think the video, the S5 is a clear one. If you haven't seen my video of the comparison of them, have a look. It's almost as if the bitrate in the Lumia isn't high enough, and maybe there's some things that get fixed in some firmware updates, some software patches that might improve the quality there. So, I don't know, I'll leave it to you. I'll give you the pictures to look at. I'll see if I can put any of them up online somewhere, but I'm not sure. Generally on my Google Plus page I do have a folder with photos on there that you can have a look at from all the different devices. Let me know in the comments which you think won.